All right. So this is what we're going to do. Go ahead and open your books. Okay? And I'll just give you, this isn't something we normally do, but I love this. I always like to see where we're going. I like to get a feel for the framework and everything else. So basically, as you look at the table of contents on page 7, probably after framework number 3, not that that should mean anything to you at all, so page 7 is the table of contents. After about framework 3, I think that's about when we'll stop for lunch. We'll just try and get to that point. Between now and then, we'll just kind of gauge it. We'll look at the clock, and if you're feeling like it's a good time for a break, just kind of let me know. If it feels like too long, okay, Julie, that's your role. Okay, leave it to the extrovert.
I can be like a camel if I have to be.
Well, look, there are no camera requirements. You let me know, first of all, if you feel like, ideally, we all stick together, and then if we need to take a break, please just let me know. This is a small group. Let's just roll with it. Let's make it comfortable. There's nothing formal to it. I just want you to feel comfortable. We'll engage in some conversations. But if too much time goes by and we haven't had a break, in a couple hours, I'll probably say, let's go ahead and stop for a minute and take a break, wander out, do what we need to. But if you feel like we need one before then, please, just time for a break. We'll do it, okay? Just, we want this to be enjoyable and interesting. This is developing and implementing an outward mindset. Today is really, the focus is going to be on the developing an outward mindset. Tomorrow is the implementing. Okay? Now, I realize that language and those terms don't really mean anything at this point, so we're going to fill that in. Today we're going to do a lot of foundation building. We're going to go through some fun frameworks that I think will, what I love about Arbinger materials, there's so many wonderful light bulbs to it. It's really an introspective kind of a journey that we're going to go on with the applications to the organization, to ourselves, and the relationships as well. So it should be a lot of fun as we get into this. I mentioned to you kind of where my relationship came from, and it was with that book on the left. There are a few books, business books. In fact, there are no business books, and I used to consume a lot of them, and I've realized that most business books, usually there's 1 or 2 chapters in there that are the essence, and then the publisher says, well, you've got to fill out more pages than 40 or 50, and so there's usually application, or in some cases regurgitation. Not all of them like that. In fact, there are plenty that aren't. But a lot of business books are like that. And so I kind of got to the point where there's a cynicism in me when I read another business book. I try and find the essence, and I say, all right, even their essence is a regurgitation of what this person said, what that person, you know how it is. It's the business world. You make money. These books are the first business books that not only I just devoured and then devoured again, but I gave them to my wife, who has no interest in the business world and organizational world at all. She does substitute teaching, and is involved in some other things and nonprofit stuff, and just in a completely different space than I am. But it was so profound and affected me so deeply that I gave them to her, and she devoured them and has given these books. And so business books that have that kind of application resonance is a little bit interesting. But those are the 2 books. The Anatomy of Peace, that title, I've told them before, I've joked about them, but that very title begs not to be read by the business class, the very ones that they're trying to help. They said, oh, we don't care. That's what it is. And they put it out there. The Arbinger Institute, they don't even put the authors on there. It's a compilation of the various different, I mean, they're doing so many things that are so different than what business school would tell you to do. So you can't even find the authors. You can just go and you can see who the managing partners are at Arbinger, and they collectively and collaboratively work on this. And I personally know that there's one individual that does the lion's share of the work, but then there's others that are contributing. But as far as Arbinger is concerned, it's a group process, and it's more about the content than it is about taking credit for the content. That is a weird concept in the business world. And so you begin to get a sense that this organization is a little bit different. And some of that has to do with the fact that they're dealing with some weighty stuff. When they go into corporate America to help them resolve conflict, or to help them become more efficient and more collaborative and innovative and accountable, to them it's small potatoes compared to coming from the Middle East, where they're working with organizations that are at each other's throat trying to kill each other. And so they don't really feel the need to pump themselves up in the corporate world. But those are the 2 books that I'd kind of recommend to you. What we're going to do is, because this is all new, have any of you ever heard of those 2 books before? Okay, so you certainly haven't read them. So I'm going into this with the assumption that this is all brand new to you. And so we're going to go into a couple of videos here. This first little section is meant to kind of establish a couple of things, to give you a little bit of a foundational knowledge and understanding of what we're in for. But before we do that, I want to just put something on the board here that we're going to come back to. And I just play through this with me as I just I'm going to give you a very simple explanation as to where Arbinger works and what Arbinger is involved with. Sean, are you making sure there's sound?
Yes, sir.
See, you guys just picks up on stuff. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a good thing I told you that before, huh?
Hey,
Sorry.
I heard.
Sorry. All right. Any organization, any individual is always seeking better results for their activities and their efforts and things that are going in. Always. That's a good thing, right? That's just continual improvement. And so inevitably, the notion is that if we want new results, then we need to change what? Behavior, right? Because behavior determines results. Inevitably, though, even with the greatest organizations, full of the smartest people in the world, for some reason it seems like there is a bungee cord attached. This is why you have these refresher courses, or you have, let's go back and recharge or re-energize, because things gradually fade and we resort back to those original behaviors. Sometimes something will crack through and change, but for the most part, in fact, this is why consultants around the world often do so well financially, because the very things that they're communicating, they know inevitably are going to go back to where they were, so they're going to pull the consultant back again and help them. It's a strange, disgusting, sickening cycle. Anyway, what Arbinger deals with is it says there's something beyond behavior which runs everything, and that's called mindset. Now, there's other ways to phrase this. You get into moralistic language, you can get into your way of being, you can use your perspective, whatever you want to do. But the reason why most of these behaviors and the results don't sustain themselves after a period of time, and that's one of the most disheartening things in the world, to go into an organization with a strategic plan or some of these other things that I'll still do from time to time, and then to go back and revisit them 9, 10 months later and see that they kind of resorted back to where they were. And that has to do because, at the core, unless the mindset is changed, the behavioral change is irrelevant. It's temporary at best. Okay? Now, we don't need to dive into anything deeper than that at this point, but I simply want to establish that what we're going to be talking about today, unlike most of the other things that I do, that we're out there where we're focusing on behaviors, approach things this way. This is the way you have crucial conversations. This is the way you, whatever else. We're going to be dealing in this area, and we're going to be diving into mindset. So in some respects, we're going to dive into the deep end of the pool. The beautiful thing here is when you get into mindset, you get into universal applicability. And so the principles that we'll talk about here don't just apply at work. They apply at home. They apply with friendships. They apply with all kinds of things. Whereas behaviors are customized and tailored to the situation that they're in, okay? So we're going to be diving into mindset a little bit. I just want to kind of give you that little bit of a brief thing. All right, so now okay. I want to introduce Luis Francisconi to you. I'm going to introduce another individual to you in just a second. Their role here this morning is to introduce us to this mindset notion, outward and inward mindset. And they're going to make some distinctions. So you're going to begin to be introduced to what it means to have an inward and an outward mindset. She's going to do it for us. We're going to see that mindset is different than behaviors. We're just going to establish a few things here, okay? So there's not really any technical details you need to grapple on with, but let's just kind of go with the flow here. And again, realize that this particular workshop is primarily geared toward organizations that are focused on profit. So we translate profit into other dividends. We translate profit with an organization such as this to people that are coming, that we're seeing a change take place in their life, that we're seeing attendance. And obviously you need money to run on as well. So you're looking at delivering value and what those individuals need. And so please just understand when we talk about profit here, you'll translate that on your own to what's relevant within your organization, okay? All right, so here's the situation Louise found herself in. So she's the former president of Hughes Systems, eventually became Raytheon Systems. They had a situation where Raytheon was coming in to take over their company, okay? And they said, Luis, you need to cut $100 million within 30 days. With the understanding, implicitly, that if you don't do this, your position with the company is tenuous at best. And so it's quite an ultimatum to give it. Okay, so you've got 30 days to eat. Hey, come on in, wherever you want to go. You know, no worries at all. Go take that. Perfect timing. You skipped over the awkward stuff.
Nice. You done that right.
All right. She's going to introduce us and take us into kind of where we're going today. Okay. So she had this monstrous task that she had to perform, and you can begin to see, imagine amongst her and all of her senior staff, the intensity that had to be around that. Everything was just tight and brittle, okay? And so what we're going to see is that there are two ways to approach any kind of a challenge or an opportunity. Anything in life, not just this, but anything else that we might face, okay? One of them is focusing on the mission and objective. Seems pretty simple, okay? Again, we're building foundational things here. This is coming in and recognizing our company, we need to cut $100 million, okay? The other is to come in and focus on my issues, focus on myself, and that's what we call an inward mindset, okay? So again, just a couple foundational principles that we're trying to build here. So an outward mindset approach would be I'm coming in, I'm focused on that objective, I'm focused on the mission. An inward mindset is I'm coming in and I'm focused on myself, okay? So for example, if I were an executive coming into that meeting, and I'm a department head, and I come into that meeting where I know we need to cut $100 million, if I'm coming in with an inward mindset, what might be my goals of coming into that meeting?
Don't touch my apartment.
Yeah, exactly. Hands up, right? I know we need to cut $100 million, but it is not coming from mine, right? What else? You think I'm coming in with a collaborative mindset? Coming in very defensive, right? With a very defensive posture. What about an outward mindset? If I were to come to that meeting with an outward mindset, how might I approach this? And again, we're early days here, so I understand. Don't feel like you don't have the right answer. It's all right. What would an outward mindset look like if I were to come to that meeting?
Do whatever I need to do to help.
Yeah. Now, even as we say that in the corporate world, there's something that tells us that is so naive, right? Okay. But you're absolutely right, Claudia. You're absolutely right. So let's see how this kind of plays out here a little bit. And I want you to just pay attention. First of all, just notice the inward and the outward mindset as it applies in this particular situation. Okay.
It's like we had a crash.
No worries. Pull it back up.
I remember the password.
Do you?
I do.
Scary.
In this area, you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Check my Facebook.
By the way, the slide numbers that you'll see in here correspond to the page numbers. Okay, so if you ever feel like you're lost as we're wandering through this, for the next half hour or so, we're just going to kind of build some foundational things and get into some frameworks a little bit later.
In theory, you should be able to put.
Should we give it a go?
In theory.
Okay. All right. Let's see if Francis is going to talk to us here. Should I go? Or wait? Should I go? Or wait?
Let's try it.
Okay. Oh, you know what's happened? It's not picking up my clicker.
Don't make me get up and have to fix it.
Oh, it's good. We'll honor it.
That's a joke. That's excellent. It's on fire.
All right. None of it makes sense.
It's not geared for playing Windows Media Files.
Should I bring over my laptop?
I've got a connector for you if you want to use your laptop.
Should we do that? That might be easier.
Is this the break time?
Let's take a quick break. How about that? All right. No worries.
Well, I'll say the same thing. Like as you said, software now?
Yogurt. Sounds like a genius idea, actually.
But it is
Or the
just.
jolt.
I don't know, let me go see a night someone will tell you.
Claudia's trying to ruin everybody's day.
What's that?
Hey, can you brush the nose right there? Who's got a job?
Oh, I already thought that.
Where does
What is told me yesterday, I was prepared.
How are you?
Not in a bad way, it's just.
Still really tired.
Not the rest of it. I would've watched it like
I'm good either way.
Remember that?
This works for everybody.
I know.
right?
time for that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of it. VGA.
Me either. I plan to message it an entire service in a day, so.
All I've got here is,
Steve, I have my laptop too.
No,
A 5K. Just because.
just because.
It's like I'm going to die.
Your walk was a 5K?
No, I ran the whole thing. Underestimate me, Danny.
I remember when you were
When I couldn't
all
walk a light
frustrated
pole
when
on
you
a light
couldn't
pole.
run a light pole.
When Danny and I first took this job, we started exercising. Because we were like, we gotta do something.
Yeah, you sit so long here.
Well, that and we were like, we need to get to know each other because we have to work together. So we were like, let's go walking. So we went on walks.
Wow.
But then we started like running a light pole, walking a light
Yep.
pole, running two,
Yep.
walking, you know, and I'd cry because I'm like, I couldn't run one light pole. I would
Right.
literally just start bowling.
Probably like, oh guys, it's gonna be the awkwardest work relationship.
That's how
You
it
guys
started.
supposed to probably work together? Oh man.
And I still do. It's great. I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Up and
You know
running,
me?
and then get a signal to it, and no, she would do it.
Great, thank you.
You know, the anticipation is building here what Luis says, isn't it? You just, I gotta know.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's
You
like
think
the
the whole
season
thing was
premiere.
planned.
So cut 100, was it 100 million?
$100 million. It was really
30
pretty
days.
extraordinary.
Wow,
Had 30 days to do it.
that's pressure.
I just quit.
You'll see the next one, which will put that one to shame to the extent. And then obviously the 100 million and having to cut that kind of revenue doesn't necessarily apply to every organization, but the intensity, I can imagine being in that boiler room. You know, the jubilation of, okay, we're going to be acquired by a larger company, we're going to be sustainable within this industry, it's exciting, and then to have the second shoe drop of, oh, and by the way, you have $100 million, but we're going to give you 30 days, so easy.
You have time.
Exactly. It's not like we're making you do it in 24 hours.
Right.
Failed. No, you didn't.
Are you cold?
I didn't think about that, Sean. I didn't think about the windows.
She will make fun of you.
Yeah, you actually called it that.
Just because that's what she would know what it is.
Let me get this coffee.
But there's also one Amy in my house that was with her.
Thank you. And she's not.
Yeah, did you guys hear about the upstairs?
No.
Hear about the snow?
What is it?
The Hilda found, she's gotta come finish cleaning the upstairs. She found a lunch pail. Way to go, Danny.
Oh
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. There was
Wow.
not a diaper hidden in
We
the wall.
really thought it was a diaper in Megan's office.
We're all
Or
well
a
aware
dead
that I
animal
can't smell
somewhere.
anything.
Do you know, I should have said
so-
that was my challenge? That everyone thought I left a dirty diaper. I didn't.
I don't,
I clean up.
That's unbelievable. What was in the lunch pail?
it wasn't mine. I
Dude,
don't
it was
know.
dead animal must have been in there.
Yeah.
What
One of your
was in there?
interns. Yeah, I know who it was, so.
Do you know what was in there? Did
I
you
don't
just
know
throw
what
it
was
away
in
and
there.
not even open it?
These are high school
I would
interns.
assume so, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't smell anything ever, so.
We walked into our office area. Well, you guys did on
The whole
Sunday,
front
but I
office
did
even
on
smells.
In
Monday.
Danny's defense, I guarantee it wasn't him.
No, but I walked in on Monday and I was like, oh my gosh, I left a diaper in the trash can. Because that's totally what I was thinking. And I take the trash out every
It's
day.
brutal. It was brutal.
It was nasty.
Wow.
And then I
It's still
walk in there
brutal.
and there's nothing in my office. Like there's a water bottle in my fridge, my trash is empty. And then yesterday, it was 100 times worse. 100 times worse. Like, and then I'm looking at our at Kenny, who's here tonight, and I was
So
like,
did you
there
pay
is a dead bird on the ceiling,
Hilda to come
and it's
and
coming
find
into
it?
the air vent. Like
Right.
there's
Come
something
clean.
dead somewhere. That's what it is.
And then
What
now
it
she's
smells
gonna
like.
clean it upstairs.
But I thought animal. But it's not me.
Makes you wonder what the food was. I mean, if it got that bad.
I know.
No idea, huh? Did
So
you
we
look
have to
in
bring in
there?
a cleaning company
Yeah, we
to
actually.
go in and do a thorough cleaning and search, and they found it.
They found the lunch pail.
Oh, yeah.
Hazmat suits, the whole nine yards.
Take it out of Danny's budget.
Crazy.
There's nothing left in there, so.
You know, this reminds me